bigger players and bigger egos and having a very forward-thinking plan. I've not seen that.
You talk about bringing all your staff in and you talk about bringing recruitment guys in and all of that. And you can't tell me the recruitment guys have looked at that and thought, yeah, this is the way we're going to go. This is how we're going to plan. I mean, anyone with a football brain will tell you that doing that and signing that amount of players is not going to work.
Graham Potter's going to get another opportunity. Don't get me wrong. Well, people value he's done brilliantly to get where he is. Just touching on Brendan Rodgers, I think as well. Very different situation. I think when the dust settles with that one, Brendan's going to look back and be very proud of the job he's done at Leicester. And I also think Leicester supporters, although angry now and frustrated at where they're at, it's not all been Brendan's fault. Let's get that right. I think a lot of them will look back on his time as successful and a good period for Leicester.
They've been a mess, haven't they, this season at times? And their transfer dealings have probably not helped Brendan Rodgers. But they're with the players that have left.
Yeah. No, he's not been helped at all. I mean, I said it last evening. I didn't know, but I get the feeling by looking at the attitudes and you're looking at their performances, and you get a feeling that there's something not quite right in the dressing room. Now, I agree with Danny. When he looks back at the FA Cup and the league positions and what he's done, he definitely hasn't been helped. Of course, he has to take responsibility because that's what you have to do as the coach or the manager. But he certainly hasn't been helped, and there's no doubt about it. He'll be back in the game. He'll get a very good job soon.
Absolutely. Well, I think it was a bizarre one because they turned the corner. I was at a couple of games earlier in the season. They were back on. They were winning games again, looking more confident, like the Leicester of old. And then the World Cup came, and they were out of the relegation comfortably. And then they come back from the World Cup, and the wheels fell off again. It's a bizarre. Very rarely do you see that where a team bounces back and then drops back in. But you are right; he has had problems there in terms of finance.
And also the fine margins here. Look, we all know how many teams are fighting to stay in this division at the moment. The other thing here is, and the obvious question to ask is, if Jean-Philippe Mateta hadn't scored with virtually the last kick of the game, they'd have got a point there.
Yeah.
They might not be next to bottom this evening.
Correct.
They'll be out. If they had got a point, then yeah, they'd have been out of the bottom three. So I'm not so sure that it would have happened if they'd have got something from that game.
And now you look at who might be in the running to replace him. Earlier on today, Rafa Benitez was the favourite to take that job. I'm guessing in a firefighter's role. Since Graham Potter was sacked at Chelsea, he's now the favourite to replace Brendan Rodgers at Leicester. But are Leicester just somebody just to keep them up and then assess again in the summer?
I think so.
Yeah,
that's where I'd be looking. Yeah, I think they've got enough quality and creativity to stay in the league. They've got good players in the squad, but they do need to stop conceding goals. That's the big problem. But yeah, stopgap is the way forward.
Brendan Rodgers is actually on the list of possible managerial appointments for Chelsea, such as the way it goes.
Eddie Howe's favourite, isn't he?
He stays.
Quite happy at a big club.
What do Chelsea need? If you take Danny's point about dealing with big name players, is that what they need?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, at times I'm sure that some of the bigger name players would have looked at Graham Potter and looked at some of his changing around in formations and personnel in different positions, and I'm sure they'd looked at him at times and thought, I'm not quite understanding what's going on here. We said the same last night. It's not for the first time that I've looked at Chelsea, so yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
All right, and Graham Potter and Brendan Rodgers are both on the shortlist for Tottenham as well. There's a midweek match that